The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in the crystalline chambers of Nexus Prime, where representatives from 400 civilized species gathered in unprecedented urgency. Ambassador Zeftal of the Kryn Collective stood at the central podium, his three eyes dilating with barely contained fear as he addressed the assembly. The motion is clear. His translator rendered his clicking speech into common galactic. Humanity must be quarantined. Their expansion into the galaxy must be halted immediately. All trade, all diplomatic relations, all contact severed. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien voices, chirps, and subsonic rumbles. It had been only 73 standard cycles since humans had achieved faster-than-light travel and joined the galactic community. 73 cycles that had forever changed the cosmic order. Jack Morrison stood in the observation gallery, his weathered hands gripping the translucent railing as he watched the proceedings below. The former Earth ambassador had been stripped of his credentials 3 days prior, when the preliminary vote had passed. Beside him, Jennifer Chen, humanity's leading xenobiologist, shook her head slowly. "They're terrified," she whispered, though her voice carried a hint of something else. Pride, perhaps, or resignation. "Can you blame them?" Jack replied, his gray eyes reflecting the lights of 1,000 worlds below. "We did this to ourselves." It hadn't been weapons that frightened the galaxy. It hadn't been humanity's wars or their tendency toward violence, qualities shared by half the species in the Council. No, what terrified the ancient civilizations was something far more insidious. Humanity adapted, not in the evolutionary sense that took millennia, but in the span of mere cycles. When humans encountered the Vorlax trading protocols that had remained unchanged for 10,000 years, they didn't just learn them, they found efficiencies the Vorlax had never imagined. Within a single solar revolution, human traders had transformed galactic commerce. When humanity discovered Kryn meditation techniques that took a lifetime to master, human neurologists and programmers created interfaces that allowed anyone to achieve those states in weeks. Ancient practices became democratized overnight. The Quellan had perfected their architectural methods over 50,000 years, building structures that harmonized with quantum fields in ways considered impossible to improve. Human engineers studied them for 6 months, then designed buildings that sang with those same fields while using half the materials and standing twice as tall. "The problem," Jennifer said, watching as another ambassador stood to speak in favor of the quarantine, "is that we don't see it as theft. We see it as learning." Jack nodded grimly. Every human colony in the galaxy had become a fusion reactor of culture and innovation. They absorbed everything they encountered, remixed it, improved it, and shared it freely. Within 3 generations, human settlements had become the most diverse, most dynamic locations in known space. And other species flocked to them. That was what truly frightened the Council. It wasn't just that humans adapted and innovated. It was that they made everyone else want to do the same. Young Kryn left their traditional hive cities to study on human worlds. Vorlax merchants abandoned ancient family businesses to start ventures with human partners. Even the stoic Quellan found themselves questioning traditions they had followed for epochs. "The vote will pass," Jack said quietly. "By this time tomorrow, humanity will be officially outlawed from Council space." Jennifer turned to him, her dark eyes reflecting decades of experience reading alien body language. "But they know it doesn't matter anymore, don't they?" Jack allowed himself a small, sad smile. "Look at them, Jen, really look." She did, and she saw what Jack had seen. The Kryn ambassador wore a human-designed translation device instead of the traditional organic interface. 3 rows back, a Vorlax representative was reviewing data on a tablet that bore the unmistakable design aesthetics of human-Quellan collaboration. Even the chamber itself had been renovated 15 cycles ago, incorporating human spatial efficiency concepts into its ancient structure. The vote was called. The resolution passed with an overwhelming majority. Humanity was to be quarantined, isolated, prevented from further cultural contamination of the galaxy. In the observation gallery, Jack and Jennifer watched the chamber begin to empty. The ambassadors filed out through corridors lit by human-improved luminescence technology, their robes cleaned by human-designed nanofabric treatments, discussing the vote using communication protocols that humanity had revolutionized. "They understand," Jennifer said softly, "that they're already thinking like us. Every solution we've shared, every innovation we've introduced, it's changed how they approach problems," Jack agreed. You can't unlearn a better way of thinking. Below them, Ambassador Zeftal remained at the podium, his three eyes staring at nothing. In his hand, he held a small device, a gift from Jack during their first meeting years ago. It was a simple thing, a human puzzle box that required lateral thinking to open. Zeftal had spent countless hours working on it, and in doing so had begun to think in ways his species had never considered. He had voted for the quarantine. He had argued passionately for it. He had convinced hundreds of others that humanity posed an existential threat to galactic civilization, as they knew it, and he was right. But as he stood alone in the empty chamber, Zeftal finally solved the puzzle. The box opened with a soft click, revealing the message Jack had placed inside all those years ago. A message he had only now learned to find. The answer was inside you all along. You just needed to look at it differently. Jennifer and Jack left the observation gallery in silence, making their way to the human quarter of the station, one of the last places they would be permitted to remain. Already they had received messages from dozens of species, coded communications expressing regret, promising clandestine meetings, requesting one last favor, one final collaboration before the walls came down. "It's already over," Jack said as they walked through corridors that would soon be forbidden to them. "Not for us. For them," Jennifer nodded. "They think they're protecting their civilizations by keeping us out. But we've already given them the one thing you can't quarantine. Hope," Jack finished. "The possibility that tomorrow can be better than today." Behind them, in the chambers of the Galactic Council, the oldest civilizations in the galaxy had voted to turn back time, to preserve what they had always known, to reject the chaotic, adaptive, endlessly innovative nature of humanity. They understood that it was too late. The galaxy would never be the same again, and somewhere on Earth another ship was being built. Another generation was learning that the universe was full of wonders to discover, puzzles to solve, and cultures to learn from. Humanity would respect the quarantine, would stay within their designated space. But the ideas they had shared, the questions they had raised, the possibilities they had revealed, those could never be contained. The vote had passed, but humanity had already won.